Welcome, Walnut. I'm Lara, but you can call me Laz, your host for Walnut Wednesday. This is your reminder to be brave, be yourself, and know that you can make the world a better place just by what you decide today. Here, I'm going to share my weekly walnuttings with you on a Wednesday. Hello, Walnut. It is me, Laz, here for another episode of Walnut Wednesday. And this week, I am so honored and excited and ready to have this conversation. I have the wonderful Kiki as a guest. Hello.
Hi. I'm just here lighting my Palo Santo because I wanted to get like a good energy and vibe going.
Oh, yes. Thank you. Good idea.
Thank you for having me. I'm so excited to be here.
Yes. So Walnut, Kiki and we were just talking offline, well, not offline, off the recording, that this is actually the first time the two of us have ever actually spoken, but we have both been like stalking and loving up on each other on the onlines for like, I want to say about 2 years plus.
I was going to say the same thing. I think you were mentioning how you invested with Viola, and I think that that's probably where that kind of like love affair started was via V. So yeah. I'm just so grateful for that because I've been like silently stalking you for years. It's great.
It's so delicious. And I believe I started following you from, I think you were interviewed on the Abundant Babes podcast. I think that's when I started following you. And then I just loved snooping on your stuff. And then I remember, I think it was, I want to say 2020, I went to an in-person event and I walnutted and I was really brave and I had lunch with girls who I'd never met before who are now my good friends. And they were saying, oh, have you guys ever followed or like done a program with Kiki? And I was like, Kiki, and I was like, oh my god, is that the person that I follow like secretly? And we're all in the car like, Kiki, do you love me? So I was like, oh my god, I'm already following this person. I'm basically cool by association.
Oh my god, you're gonna make me cry. Who were these people? I need to know.
So this was Jilly, I can't remember Jilly's last name, Nicole Middleton, and Ankara.
Oh my god. Okay. I love that group of women is just so powerful. Nicole and I have been connected since like before I even really had a business. Her and I have been connected for a very, very long time, like from when I was in network marketing days. So like 4+ years. Like she has been on this entire journey with me. I am such a huge fan of hers.
Oh my gosh.
Amazing. Yeah. I could listen to that woman speak for days on end because the South African accent is my all-time favorite. I want to marry a Safi, literally. Like I just want to listen to them speak all day.
Nicole lives really local to me now, and we're in a little container together as well. So we're really, really good friends. And Nicole's been on the podcast too. If you want to scroll back and have a listen to it, she is a firecracker. So
she is.
He says is like on point. So we love you, Nicole.
Love you, Nicole. Can you please do me a favor and give her a hug from me the next time you physically see her?
Yes, I'm actually physically seeing her today, so I will.
So it makes my heart so happy.
Before we get to chatting some more, Kiki, can you just introduce yourself to the Walnuts who potentially haven't met you before?
Yes. Hi, Walnuts. It is an honor to be here. I was telling Laz, I've literally been looking forward to this podcast interview all week. Love you, love your energy, love this beautiful community that you've created. I am Kiki Rae. I am an energetic alchemist and quantum coach. And that pretty much just means that I help, my main focus is helping entrepreneurial women, but really I like to bring the modalities of what I have learned over the past 5 years to help all women in their lives, their businesses, to really heal from the mind, body, soul connection. So synergizing all those 3 things in order to be able to create a legacy of impact and income in their lives. So hence mainly why I focus with entrepreneurial women, but women who don't have a business, I'm also always happy to help support them in their healing journey as well.
Oh, so delicious. I feel like the world needs more Kikis, more healers and dealers and candlestick bealers because it I think we like get to a point. I don't know if it's like maybe our generational thing and stuff, but there's so much stuck energy in life, and having people to guide you kind of through that is actually such a beautiful like connectical experience, I think.
I absolutely agree.
Yeah, so how did you get to where you are, I suppose? I was gonna say, how did you find healing? But yeah, maybe let's just start at the beginning that you want to choose and see where you
Yeah,
lead.
there's a long beginning, but it's been an evolution. It's been a journey. Really, I feel like in the past couple of years, especially, I've lived multiple lifetimes. Just in terms of how much I've grown because of this work and the impact I've made in my own life, and then getting to like ripple that out to support friends and family and clients. But it started when I was diagnosed with cancer. That was kind of like the pivotal moment for me. And I don't want anyone listening to think that they have to hit a rock bottom in order to make change in their lives.
Yeah.
But that was my path, my journey, my soul contract. And what I realized from that journey was, getting into the network marketing space and doing a path of like health and fitness. So obviously after cancer, you want to be taking really good care of your vessel. And I found this company, and then I got really good results. And the girl who brought me into it was like, you should, you're automatically just like doing this anyways. Like, why not get paid for it? I was like, oh yeah. I mean, I am naturally just sharing about it. And a lot of people started calling me inspiring and all of this stuff. And I did really well in the company. And then I became more focused on like the personal development side of things. It wasn't really my passion to like help people on their health and fitness journeys. It was helping people with like their mindset and being able to empower them with these beautiful tools of like, you have this innate power within you, and it's up to you to remove those blocks and those barriers and those like invisible limitations and all of the things that you've been conditioned to believe that are so untrue. And that was really just like where the fire started. And then I got certified in NLP. I moved network marketing companies to actually, the NLP came after, but I left the one company and then invested in another one and was one of the first people. It was like ground floor opportunity, quit my job. I was doing so well with it. What I ended up making in 2 years with my first company, I saw compounded like success in 2 months. So I was like, this is it. Quit my job. Thought that this was going to be the thing. 5 months after quitting my job, the company just like closed the doors overnight, and I was up shit creek without a paddle.
Oh my God.
Yeah. And luckily I was working with a coach at the time. I really truly believe that like every decision I've always made has prepared me for some future event. And so I was already working with a coach, and she was like, all right, Kiki, like you are wanting to move in this direction. Like you were going to do this sub coaching thing anyways. Why don't you just go and do it? And I was like, oh my God, I'm not ready. And then of course I like wallowed in my own self-pity for 2 nights. And then my partner at the time looked at me, and was like, okay, like, what are you going to do? And I just kind of put myself out there, and I said that I was officially going to be coaching. And 2 days later, I signed my first client. It was just like,
Hence the word in your like description, quantum. Shrinking. Shrinking time.
Yes, quantum. Man, thank you for reflecting that back to me. I haven't been feeling very quantum recently. So, yeah, but I realized like last year was a really big learning lesson for me of just, how important it is to consistently be doing the work. And there were some stretches that happened for me last year, some like major quantum leaps, and a lot of backlash on the back end of that. And I've been talking a lot about that, and it made me realized it was a 6-month journey of like pain, of realizing that there were still more things, still more healing to do, still more layers to peel back around my own insecurities and my own self-worth, and lots of loss. Grieving people who are still alive is like a really challenging thing to do.
Yeah.
And yeah, people who didn't really want to celebrate me. And I was like, okay, well, you know, like I don't really have time for that. And so there was a lot of like hurt and pain that kind of came with that on the other side of these major wins and celebrations. And I realized that I like completely self-sabotaged myself. And so it was a beautiful, like towards the end of the year when like, you know, I really like took what felt like 20 steps back. You know, my income, I'm pretty much starting from new the beginning of this year. Like I've lost pretty much everything. I burned my own business to the ground in a sense, and I'm now like starting from the ground up. And so that was just a really powerful insight as to why this work is so important and why we do it on a consistent basis, is so that we can be these quantum humans that we know, like I know that that's within me. So yeah, really like this year is a big focus of getting like reintegrated with that energy and being that quantum being.
Oh, I've got like goosebumps, I feel like, and like you're like a phoenix, like you burned it all and now you're like coming up and like all these big things are going to happen. But Kiki, thank you for sharing the not so love and light version of the story as well, because I think what I've been talking about to the Walnuts a little bit recently as well is learning to, I always say that it's not all love and light, right? You got to have like good with the bad, hot, cold, all the things. And also when you're at such a level, you know, you need to learn to carry the high alongside the low that is the equivalent of that at the same time. So it sounds like you've really like processed that, and I'm really excited for what's to come. But so many people are like, oh, high vibe, woohoo, and it's like, well, there's another side to this coin. So I really appreciate you sharing that part of your story with us, because I think you can't say that enough. You know, you can't drill that into people enough who think that it's all just a big fairy tale when sometimes it's really not.
Totally. It's about learning the dualities of life so that there can exist. Like 2020 was a really good realization of that for me. And I think I just kind of lost it along the way because there were like exacerbated kind of circumstances that happened in 2021. But like my motto for 2020 was this sucks and I'm still thriving. And I think I had kind of like lost sight of that a bit because the sucked was really like grandiose, you know, into 2021. 2021 was way worse of a year than 2020 for me. And so it was really like coming back, that was a lesson that needed to be drilled into me. And I had to learn it, unfortunately, the hard way. And my hope for all of your listeners is that they can take something from this conversation so that they don't have to do the hard thing. Especially for business owners who are seeing these online coaches and, you know, whatever the niches that you're working in, but these people who are making these like quantum jumps year after year after year. And like, that's not the reality for everyone. And while I wish it were, you know, I went and I celebrated a 6-figure year in 2020, which was great. And in 2021, I had an $86,000 year, which is still incredible. I'm like so proud of myself because it is really like the most I had ever made before that was $40,000. So like, again, a quantum leap in 2020 and then holding still like it lowered a bit, but not by that much. Right. And so still holding this energetic capacity. And the way that we do that is by allowing ourselves to feel through the bad while we honor the good. And it doesn't have to be, I've really been advocating a lot about this recently, just with like everything that's happening in the world, but this idea of both and, it does not have to be either or. You can be celebrating incredible things happening in your life while holding the shit. And like, that's really important for people to understand.
I love that. And I talk about this, I'm very passionate about this and that, rather this or that. And I've been talking recently in terms of like celebration. I had a conversation the other day where so we get in this like pattern of thinking that we're not allowed to be excited for something else when we're experiencing something good at the same time. Example, for my 30th birthday, I had 3 weekends with different people for my birthday. And my example was that, like, say I was away with my sister, really excited and enjoying myself, but I was excited for the next weekend too. And we get taught to be like, don't be so rude. That's really mean on your sister because you're not paying attention to her, and don't tell her that you're excited for that because that's like offensive. You know what I mean? And so like, thank you for giving us all permission to want more and look forward to more while also experiencing stuff good and also bad, you know?
Yeah, absolutely. So going back to your whole thing about like the high vibe only, like I can't like that, it's toxic positivity, right? It's not actually the human experience to be living high vibe all the time. You just can't do that. The way that you quantum leap, the way that you manifest what it is that you're desiring in a short period of time is by honoring the darkness, by allowing yourself, not by, putting it over here and putting it aside, but by giving yourself the time, the permission, the space to sit and feel what it is that's coming up for you. And then allowing yourself to be like, okay, what would I prefer to feel instead? Like, what tools do I have to be able to like honor this feeling? Because it's not good and bad. Like, I don't like that. Like, there is a reason for every emotion. There is a meaning behind every emotion. Emotions are just indicators. They're not good or bad. They are like a compass almost of like, okay, why am I feeling this way? And the more that you can become the witness and the observer to your thoughts and your feelings, the easier it's going to become to detach you as your identity from your emotions. So it's never the fact that you are grieving or that you are, it's like, okay, this is a temporary situation. And like, yeah, okay, I'm feeling scared. I'm feeling me personally right now, like, a little scarce compared to where I was a year ago. And like, that's fine, because it's now just an indicator of, okay, what am I going to do with that emotion? How am I going to transform it into something that's more empowering for me so that I can get back on track to get what it is that I know that I'm worthy of and deserving of.
Yeah, it's like, it's that self-awareness, right? Just being aware so that you can not necessarily control, but like kind of gauge what we're going to do next or how we want to be. Sometimes we do want to sit in the shit for a little bit, and that's fine. Usually for me, there comes a time where it's like, okay, now go brush your teeth. Kiki, I would like to go back to like, do you have a couple examples? You mentioned that it was really difficult for you to grieve people who were still alive, and it actually reminded me of when I was younger. This is like pre-Walnut era, peanut time, where I like broke up with my best friend. Like we just weren't, the connection of friendship was just it was just time to not continue. And I was so sad. I binge watched Pretty Little Liars. There's a lot of seasons and a lot of episodes in that, and ate pizza and was sad and didn't really do stuff for like 2 weeks. And I think that's such like a human down to earth thing to like talk about. If you're comfortable, I'd love to know, when you mentioned that you were going through that, what are some things that you kind of like did, or do you have anything specific or that you want to riff on about that?
Yeah, it was just a really challenging time. And I'm honestly like trying to think about what it was. And I think that this is actually a really good lesson for the listeners, is that I don't think I actually held space for myself to grieve it. I don't think I realized there was a lot of hurt because a person who had been in my life for an extremely long period of time was unable to celebrate my success with me, and instead took it as an attack on their inability to see the level of success that I was seeing. And that wound ran very deep, because that took me back to like childhood wounding of not being accepted for being myself. And I was bullied all the time as a kid for just no reason. I never really saw a reason. I was made fun of for my laugh. I was made fun of I had a bump on my lip for the longest time. And just like all of these little things that, like, you know, it sounds so silly now, but in the moment it was just like so traumatizing. And so I think that, you know, like my level of success had nothing to do with their level of success. Right. And I think that they, again, going back to this both and idea, it's like those two can coexist at the same time. And I also offered them resources. I was like, okay, well, come take this program. Like, I want to give it to you for free. Like, come learn what I've done to get me to where I am. And they were like, no, like just a hard no, not for me, whatever. And I was like, well, there's not, if you're not open and you're not willing. And that's the thing too. Yeah. It's not everyone's path. And unfortunately, there are going to be people, when you start to work on yourself, you know, the biggest thing that I got was, you've changed. I'm like, thank you.
I love
Thank
that.
you. Thank you. I appreciate that. But you know, that came from a very negative, to like almost a hurtful place. So to answer your question, I didn't really do I like just kind of was trying to talk myself through it. I didn't actually give myself the space to heal through it. And this is, you know, fast forward all of these months later now, where I realized that was almost the missing piece. And that's the piece that I'm now incorporating into my business, is this trauma-informed lens, and really learning about how emotions get trapped in the body. So not just learning about like emotional intelligence, which I've taught on for a very long time, but really learning the somatic piece, which I believe was the piece that I was missing in my own life, but also in my clients' lives and the way that I ran my business. So that's where this whole, like this holistic kind of part of my business is now coming full circle, I feel, and the whole like burning it down and building it back up. It's feeling good. So yeah, like giving yourself that time and that permission to sit with it, whatever it is. You know, I have really great tools that I give to my clients, of like having a sacred rage, or I call it a sacred tantrum, where, you know, kids, they instinctively know how to get their emotions out by having these tantrums. And we see it as adults as a bad thing, or like a misbehavior, when in actuality, children are just regulating themselves through their big feels.
Oh my God, yes. Oh my God, yes.
God, just dropping.
It's like a bing bong. Wow. Yes, I love this. Sacred tantrum. I think I must have more often. So what does the what does one do if they are feeling, is it when you're in the do you teach it that you do it when you're in the moment of it, or do you give yourself a space and create that to do that? Or sorry, now just curious, asking for a friend.
You can do both. So if you have the space to do it when the emotion is coming up, that's obviously the best time to process it, is like in the moment. If you're not in the capacity or in the proper, you don't just start having a tantrum at the office or anything like that. But like, if you're really feeling the need to get these emotions out, you know, I always like tell my clients, it's like, go in your car and like go drive. If you're not comfortable doing it just in your car, like go drive somewhere that there's like space, an empty parking lot, whatever, and just like you can have a pillow in the back of your car and just start beating the crap out of your car, out of the passenger seat, whatever it is. You're physically moving those emotions through your body, and being able to get it out of you and release it is the process of not allowing them to be trapped. When we trap emotions, when we repress emotions, that's when we are going to get to a bubbling point and take our emotions out on the wrong person or on our children, or, in the most misplaced ways. And that is, you can punch, kick, scream, like, obviously, so you're not hurting yourself, do it on your bed. Take a pillow and smash like whatever it is that you're not going to be upset about. Like, I've got a wardrobe right here. I would literally just like smash the door of the wardrobe, or like my bed with a pillow. Beat your fists into a pillow, like nothing that's obviously going to physically harm yourself or anyone else, but having that safe space to let those emotions out is huge.
I'm literally obsessed with this, and like I'm just like, while you're talking, I was just like imagining all these things that I could do, and weirdly it makes me nervous as a woman who,
Yes.
but society says you're not allowed to like just yell and scream because it's not ladylike or whatever. Like, dudes kind of like just let their anger out really quickly, but I feel like us gals, there's a little bit of like past sisterhood women things that it makes me a little bit nervical, if I'm honest.
Because we have been conditioned as women to be quiet and tame. And women don't have anger. They are nurturing, they're loving, they're caring. Excuse me, that's like the exact opposite with men, of like, men can't cry. So that's like toxic femininity, if you really want to call it that. Ooh, I'm going to write that one down.
Oh, I just got little goosebumps. I was like, oh yeah, so good.
Yeah, but like, what's the opposite of toxic masculinity, right? Toxic femininity.
Yeah.
It's this idea that we as women cannot express those quote unquote unladylike emotions because that's not who we are as women. Fuck that. Sorry. Seriously, like, that is just not human again. So it's like how men are not, it's not manly to cry, but that's part of being human. Like, take away the gender stereotypes, the normative bullshit. It is human. We all have these emotions that need to be expressed. So if you can find, the more you can find healthy ways to express them when you are feeling them, or close to when you are feeling them, and not letting them get all stuffed down and trapped, my God, what a more beautiful, calm, healthy world we would live in.
Oh my gosh, absolutely. Because I, as an energy healer as well, I'm always like, oh, don't let it get stuck. So I'll always, if I feel stuff bothering me, I'll always try and move my body and take a walk and stuff. But some days that's just not quite enough. And I remember one time, which I actually remembered while you were talking about the sacred rage. I was in a program. Look, I don't remember the details, but I was in a program about your inner wild woman and this kind of thing. And I got taught a practice called swamping. Which is
I love swamping.
Yeah. So Walnut, what swamping is basically like where you just kind of like huff and grunt like a dirty cave woman that's just like a bit feral. And it like was really, I started crying afterwards, I think. And you can say things like no or anything like that, but it's just really like husky and like wild.
So oh yeah, like that is it. When you are, and it's funny because I love that you brought this up. For anyone who has never read the book Pussy, by Regina Thomashower, I believe is her last name. I might have butchered that. She's also known as Mama Gina, and she is phenomenal. And she, I believe, coined swamping. And what she does is actually takes that one step further, and she will put a trash bag on to really just like embody the trashy emotions that are residing within her. And then she puts on this like hardcore music, just anything that's going to get that like ragey energy kind of out of you, that feral, like what you were talking about, just like primitive energy.
Primitive. That's the
Primitive. Yes. Just that, like, we are okay to express that. And so you just have to, if that's obviously, it's not something like, even, I'm just trying to think like within society too, you know, like when you express that to someone else, you're like called a bitch, or like, you know, women are bossy, you know, when they're being assertive. And it's just like all of this deconditioning that we have to do. But when you have that safe space to express that, right, you come from such a more grounded place in your day-to-day life, in your everyday conversations. You don't react to the world around you as much as if you didn't do these practices. And so it's just really beautiful to like bear witness to, of like these visceral reactions that come up in us. And it's like, okay, well, it's probably not this moment that is happening that's triggering us. It's all of these past moments that we've let build up that we have not gotten out of our system. And that's where it eventually just boils up and out.
Yes. Oh my gosh, I love it. And I also really liked just coming back to what you said earlier when people were like, you've changed, you know, like if someone says, oh, you're a bitch or blah, 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 like receiving that and saying thank you and switching what that means to you in your mind. Like if someone called me, like at the moment I've been working really hard on my boundaries, you know, with like I don't really settle for, I block things on Instagram that I don't like anymore. If I get an icky DM, I don't even bother going thanks for your message. I just go block. Like I don't have time. So if someone was like to me, oh my god, you're such a bitch, I'd be like, thank you, because I worked really, really hard to get to this point of being able to just block someone really savagely, you know?
Yeah, exactly. I remember when I first started my journey, oh my God, like I'm sure you can relate to this. It's like way before stories were even flowing for like the 4 slides, you had to do like 15 individual seconds. And I just remember exactly where I was the first time I like tried to get on video and record a story, and just like, oh my God, what are they going to think? And like how much of a, like the word that came to mind was coward. Like I was so fucking scared. But like now, the woman that I am today, and like all of the shit that I have gone through to get to where I am from who that person was, is just like mind blowing. Some people don't get to this place in a lifetime. And for us who are doing the work and like really just choosing to improve every single day, it's like, wow, like you got to like stop and assess those big moments, because it's like, that's what makes life worth living, is like seeing how much you've grown in such a short period of time. And so for you with your boundaries, and like me, like, yeah, the messages that you get on social media sometimes is just like,
oh look, I don't even know. I think this morning actually I get influxes of spammy things like in my emails and stuff. Like it's like a certain time of the year, I don't know, but I've had like some new followers that are just like girls in bikinis and stuff like that. And I've honestly just blocked them. Like it's so much less about having a follower and more about what I want to have in my energy. Correct. And yeah, so I'm like, oh, I'm a savage. Ooh. But it's also a matter of, you know, patting yourself on the back and smacking yourself on the butt about it too, and really celebrating that where you are. And when you are looking back in hindsight going, wow, oh my gosh, like really taking a moment to celebrate that as well, I think.
Smacking yourself on the butt. I love it.
I love it.
I love it. I got a nice big booty too. So I'm going to smack myself on the butt more often. I like that.
Please do, because I was just thinking when you're talking, you're so delicious and inspiring and wonderful. And honestly, like I've stalked you for years. So it's like your content. I love your reels on Instagram. I love literally everything you do. You're so delicious. So can you tell the Walnuts where to find you if they are thinking you're so delicious as well and want to smack your butt with you?
Yep. Okay. Please come and smack my butt anytime. I love it. I'm also like, it's funny because I've got like a little butt smacking kink. So like really the fact that you said that, I was like, oh yeah. So love that. Please, anytime if we meet, just feel free to give me, no men, thank you, but any woman, give me a little pat on the butt. And I am over on Instagram. That's my favorite place to hang out, is on IG. I am at Quantum Creatrix. And I have a beautiful Facebook community of almost 900 people. And I am just like so in love and in awe with all of them. And they are just the most bright and beautiful spirited women and men. Actually, there's a couple men in there as well. And that is Quantum Creatrix Co. over on Facebook as well. And I just have to give you a little shout out because I fucking love your reels too. They make me so goddamn happy. I like have such big smiles every time I watch them.
Oh my God. That's it.
That's smack. Love it.
Oh, thank you, Kiki. Delicious. I will link all that stuff in the show notes for you, Walnut, if you want to find Kiki. But yeah, the IG is definitely on fire. Love it. Love it every day. Kiki, token question that we ask all of the guests on the podcast, but what does being a walnut mean to you?
So I was thinking about this. The walnut really is like the embodiment of you. Like that to me is, and when I think about you, I think about someone who is completely fearless and just shows up in their own personal power and does not give two shits about what anyone else thinks. And it is awe-inspiring. And so that is what being...
I'm like, Walnut, if you're not watching the video, I'm like crying.
It is like, I just admire you so much for the way that you show up as your most authentically expressed self. And like, that's something that I am always working on. So thank you for being so inspiring.
Oh my God, I'm like gonna cry. Thank you very much. And the word authentic is like a trigger word for me for so many different like layery reasons, but so that means so much to me. Thank you very, very much. Oh, I'm dying.
My heart.
Before we kind of like wrap up and close off the episode, Kiki, is there anything like left on your heart that you want to share with the walnut that's listening, or that you feel like you haven't raised in this episode?
Just healing is like such an inside job, and it's not up to anyone else to, oh my God, stop.
I'm like so emotional, so delicious. Sorry.
It's not up to anyone else to do the healing. Like, it's up to you to be so responsible for yourself and your healing. And in that, to be raising your vibration and your consciousness, to then go out and like be that beacon of light and be that inspiration for other people to go and do their work too.
Beautiful. I love that. Yeah. I love that. Thank you so much. Walnut, if you enjoyed this episode, please make sure you take a little screenshot and tag Kiki and I on your socials so that we can like say hello and thank you for listening and thank you for your time. And Kiki, what? Oh my fucking God. It's been years and years. This is a privilege and an honor, and I'm so happy that you visited and grateful for your time and for your wisdom on this episode. I really, really appreciate it, and I love you.
Love you, and the honor is all mine. Thank you so much.
Have a happy Walnut Wednesday, everybody, and I will talk to you next week. Bye.
Bye.